You guys are gonna have to tell me if the audio right here is really bad or not, because I'm not gonna be re-listening to it. Um, as I've said before, sorry. I know I probably should, but I'm just not gonna be like re-listening to me talk. Not that I'm not happy to be here to talk, but anyway, it seems like some people very much enjoyed the last episode. As I have said before, it takes me a little bit to be more willing to be more, I guess, open about my views and thoughts about people's gameplay without having knowing a lot about them. A lot of my personality is I don't like to think about hurting anybody. And so I'm a little conscious of like what I actually I'm a lot conscious of what I say before I say it on something like this, because I'm talking about, I mean, who knows, like they probably will never listen to me talk about them, but I just want to be careful. And I do feel bad because I think I called Haley a cockroach last time. I didn't mean that. I just meant like her play reminded me of like something that can't be killed, which would be a roach. Um anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just get into it. I want to start, and this may sound like I planned it, but I really didn't. Not to talk about this, I feel like instead the sky kind of planned it for me. um Sorry, I'm a little low energy today, but I'm low energy in spirit and person, but like I am definitely here to talk about the game. But I just think it's interesting because the exact day that I find this house turning into a nitpicking, forensic, kind of like who touched my hairbrush to find the word olive branch pressure cooker, happens to actually be the exact day the sun left Leo and crossed into Virgo. So, like, the season literally has changed under their feet. And if you've listened to me at all this summer, you know I'm not the one to read that as coincidence. Instead, I like to read it as the weather doing what the weather does. Because for what, like 4 6, can never talk. For 6 weeks, this house is ran on Leo, which is the spotlight, the ego, the performance, everybody playing to the cameras, begging America for powers. And I'm kind of getting the emotion that the light has shifted. Leo is now handing the year over to Virgo. That's all I kind of like think about it, like when you're passing a baton. Leo's handed it over, now it's Virgo's time, and Virgo becomes the magnifying glass. This is the part of the cycle it stops performing and it more so starts inspecting. It's all about scrutiny, criticism, receipts, the fine print, you did not do enough type of energy. And overnight, as we can kind of see, the house has started to audit each other. Um, a missing hairbrush freaking became a whole long day investigation. Luckily, I had nothing to do besides work, so I had time to listen to it and watch it. But an alliance that nobody has honored, it also became a courtroom over what the word olive branch literally technically means. Whatever. It's just really, this is Virgo weather, and I think you should hold it because I do think that is sitting over almost every single thing that has happened. But that's actually not the main thing I want to do today. Today, I think I want to go even deeper than I ever have because I think we are getting even more and more and more further into this that now I don't even feel like the individual charts are more so enough. I'm starting to feel like because these people are not playing solo, they're more so playing in pairs and in pods in a way. You get what I'm saying? Um so the way two charts grind against each other or click together is actually its own reading if you didn't know. So we're going to be talking about synastry and composite charts. So this is when the single chart a relationship itself has is read as if the partnership were almost its own person born that day between the two of them combined. So I'm running the real math on the couple that's running the season, and I'm going to show you why the two people at the top, they kind of fit like a lock and key, and why the two people at the bottom kind of keep colliding. And one place where the chart is almost not the story at all, where I'm going to set the astrology down and I'm going to talk to you a little plainly. So let us go, I guess. Let's get into it. Sorry, I said my energy's like not the best, but I'm here, I promise. Let's talk about this guy right now first, like the weather over the house. So, as I said before, the sun has just entered Virgo, and that's really the headline because the house has moved out of like this look at me and inspect into everything season. Or like look at me season and they're going into inspect everything season is what I mean to say. And you can kind of feel it in how petty and precise the fighting has gotten this week, and that's because Virgo doesn't throw a punch. Instead, it's a type of sign that will hand you a list of everything you did wrong with the timestamps. We got that from the hairbrush hunt, from the going through each other's belongings, through the itemized replay of the entire game during the Taylor argument. All that is Virgo energy. Everyone has seemingly become a forensic accountant of everyone else's behavior. We're also dealing with the moon in Capricorn at this time as well. And so the moon in Capricorn is a very cold, serious, judgmental mood to kind of be doing all of this in. Capricorn moon's not one to soothe, instead it evaluates. So the house is not just nitpicking, it's nitpicking without any softness underneath. So it's almost like everybody's grading each other on this very hard curve. And then we have Mercury, who's still finishing up in Leo, so people are making these big speeches even as the ground turned criticals under them, which is why the arguments, I think, are so theatrical. Because Venus in Libra is also still the alliance and partnership planet, is still trying to pair everyone off even as the pairings are fracturing. Mars in Cancer, and that's also happening. So the conflict is still kind of running on feelings and loyalty and the who hurt my person, which is why the fights get so personal so fast. And Saturn is still retrograde in Aries, the season-long ego reckoning, and now it's actually sitting on the icons more than anyone else. So the mood is kind of set. I think I've said it. It's very cold, critical, itemized, very loyal to a fault, very theatrical. And now I want to talk about the people who are also inside of it. So we're going to talk about these two because I have been really dying to talk about it. Dee and Dee-Devens, as a unit, they are running the season. So I wanted to pull the composite chart for the two of them, which is the chart their partnership itself has, and I find it to explain a lot. So first, their synastry, like how the two of them personally click. Dee's a Libra sun, Devens is an Aries sun. So these are your two actual opposites, like polar opposites on the chart. Aries is across from Libra, Libra is across from Aries. So they're exact opposites. And opposite signs are the classic magnet, because Libra's kind of like that diplomat, while Aries is the warrior. So Dee's able to charm the room, while Devens is able to swing the weapon. Neither one of these could run this house alone, but together they kind of cover the whole board, which is exactly what I feel like we're watching. Like we watch Dee talk people into the position, and then we watch him pull the trigger with the diamond of veto. That is textbook Aries Libra polarity, two halves of one operator. But the part that got me is interesting is the fact that they actually both have their moon in Gemini, which is the same emotional wavelength almost to the degree. I think this is kind of why they're always giggling, always going, isn't this fun? They're also always bored at the same time, and they feel like they're reaching for chaos at the same time as well. Because two Gemini moons are going to find the identical things funny, and they're going to also get restless on the identical schedule. And it's very rare because this is not strategy. I think this is genuine chemistry, and like in the most platonic sense. I'm pretty sure Devens is married and Dee's not interested. So it's not, I'm not saying any of this in a romantic sense at all. But the composite chart, and this is the chart of the relationship itself. So I ran the midpoints. The composite moon is in Gemini, and the composite Venus is right on top of it, also in Gemini. So you kind of have like the emotional heart of this partnership, the way they enjoy each other. It's pure Gemini, right? The banter, the mischief, the playing with the game like it's a toy, entertaining each other more than anyone else in the house basically can. And underneath all of that, their composite sun is in Cancer, which means the purpose of this partnership, the thing it exists to do, is Cancer. Protect its own, build a little family, treat the two of them as a home base against the whole house. And that's why they kind of even feel like the mom and dad of the season. The composite literally makes them a household, a playful, chatty, mischievous household that will quietly protect itself above all else, but a household nonetheless. And you could not build a more effective, more comfortable, more dangerous duo, in my opinion, on purpose. But where it turns, because I do think it turns, because this week Devin said that he wants to sit next to Dee at the end, that he thinks he beats her because he needs the money more and he's everybody's dad. But I think we can see the charts fight here. Because that Cancer composite sun, the family, the protection, that's real between them. But Devins is an Aries, and Aries ultimately plays for Aries. Now, his Pisces Venus is the part that can generally love the partnership and still, when the sun goes down, calculate how to win against it. I think he's running a socioeconomic pitch to the jury, like a I needed more angle. And I'm gonna say this plainly, that leaning on need instead of game, I think is a weak closing argument and a little icky, and I don't really think it lands. But the fascinating thing to me is that the same composite that makes him a little family is also the thing he's planning to monetize, because he wants the family to carry him to the chair, and then he wants to like beat the family when you think about it. And I do think that that is kind of a crack in the most solid pairing in the house. And I also think that it's what Aries is doing when Aries does, even to the person that it may just genuinely click with. I don't know. It's very interesting. Let's talk about LaLa. Because LaLa won again, and the synastry of this is the synastry of the one real friendship I believe left in the house. So speaking of LaLa, I love her. She's a 58-year-old black woman, and again, she outcompeted a room half her age. When she came on in the beginning of the season, and Mama showed her like muscles and stuff, and like she does not look athletic, but she's so athletic. I think people should to really take note of that. But this is her second physical win of her season. Again, going against people who are half her age, and she's winning. I caught this in the week 1, and I just think I could take my victory lap because her near total Cancer chart is built for exactly this. Water is the sign that endures, and Mars is in Cancer right now. Sitting on her whole stack chart, so her engine is running hot at the very precise moment she needs it. It's almost like the sky feeding her. But I want to read the one genuine friendship left standing because LaLa and Taylor, my two black women, are the real thing to me in a house full of transactions, and their synastry I think is why. Because LaLa is nearly all Cancer with the Pisces moon, so she's water on water, which is very pure, nurture, and gut and mothering. Taylor is a Libra sun with the Capricorn moon, which is ambitious, disciplined, achievement-driven, emotional core that responds to structure. And when we look at what happened this week, Taylor breaks down, and she's like, I don't want to be here anymore. But LaLa didn't coddle her. LaLa told her to suck it up, get it together, go upstairs, make peace. And out of context, I think that looks harsh, but in synastry, I find it to be perfect because the Cancer this stacked doesn't do soft soothing when it counts. Instead, it does tough love mothering. And the Capricorn moon is the one emotional wiring that actually responds to tough love, and it actually can hear get it together as care instead of it being cruelty. The water, it mothers, and the earth, it steadies and it gets back up. And I think LaLa is the only person in that house speaking the exact language Taylor's chart can receive right now. And that's not luck. I find that to be how their charts actually fit. And I'm sorry, I keep being so behind on the slides because I'm like really into talking and I forget to like move the button. But it says everything I just said. Now Devens spent the week pushing. He wanted basically Mallory to be put up as the renom, and because he wanted to actually send her home over Drew, over Yasha, really over everyone. And he's right. Mallory is a real threat. Did I say Mallory? Melody, I forgot. Mallory is a real threat. And I think the charts tell you why he is specifically the one to sniff it out. So Mallory, she's a double Gemini with Venus and Mars in Cancer. And Mars is in Cancer right now, sitting on her drive. And she's playing the middle, sweet to everyone, committed to no one. And I think a double Gemini playing the middle is the hardest thing in the house to kind of pin down. But that's exactly what makes her dangerous and exactly what makes her hard to catch. But Devens has a Gemini moon. So for him, he can read Gemini fluently because he has one. He's the one person whose instincts are tuned to exactly to her frequency. So where everyone sees this harmless, chatty girl, he can feel the slipperiness because it's in his own wiring looking back at him. That's why the read came from him rather than like an Angela or Dee, because I think it takes a Gemini to catch a Gemini playing the fence. And this is the cruel Virgo season timing. So Mallory threw the last HOH and she said out loud she didn't want it. And in Leo season, I think she could have skated by on charm, but the sun just moved into Virgo and the magnifying glass season. The season that punishes the person who did not do the work. And now she's about to be the one to sit on the block because she declined power when she had it. See, the weather, it turns against the exact choice she made. LaLa coming off the block on that veto means I would probably assume the likeliest final noms are Mallory against Drew with no vote to save her. So it's like the middle stopped being safe literally the day the season changed, which I just find very interesting. All right, my next point we're talking about is I believe gonna be about Drew. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at these slides. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so Drew. Let me see what the next slide is. I can remember. Okay, so Drew, he's finally, I guess, started to wake up. So last night, or late at night before, I don't remember which night, but late at night, he told Barrett that he doesn't think he can ride with the icons to the end. He said that Devens is too cutthroat and that he'd cut him in a heartbeat. And he's right. But the sad part is his chart has kept him seeing it for weeks. And I want to show you the one-way synastry that trapped him. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. Drew is an Aquarius sun with the Cancer Mars, Pisces Venus, and a Taurus Mars. So his bond to Devens, I think, has generally been one directional, and it's written in the two charts. Drew's Aquarius air, I think it feeds Devens Aries fire, and it kind of makes that fire bigger and brighter. So Drew has spent the whole game being the kindling almost that can make the icons plans burn hotter, running the messages, doing their sorting and calling it teamwork. And then his Cancer Moon and Pisces Venus are the softest, most loyalty hungry placements in his chart. They're aimed straight at Devens, the Aries dad figure. I think Drew wanted the approval of a man whose own composite priority is protecting only Dee. I think Drew loved a partnership he was never actually in. And I think that's a tragedy of of his whole season, almost in one sentence, right? Now with the Virgo season sharpening everyone's discernment, now his eyes are squinting open. It's almost like he just woke up in the middle of the night, but when your eyes haven't really adjusted to the dark yet, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And I think the question is whether Taurus Mars, which is the slowest moving drive in the zodiac, can actually get out of bed and act before Barrett, his alleged supposed final two, if they were to both get there. But before Barrett kind of ends up ratting him out to protect Mallory, Drew's chart is going to want to move deliberately, but I'm not sure if he's going to really have the time. So Yash accepts the bribe from Dee. And this literally keeps him safe this week, but it chains him from nominating the icons on his next HOH. And they're literally calling it that he's selling his soul, that he sold his soul. And I think the astrology of who call him, however, is almost too perfect, and that's why I would like to talk about it. So Yash is an Aquarius sun with a Capricorn moon. Dee's a Libra sun with a Gemini moon. Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, these are the three air signs. And air signs move the same way, fast, mental, detached, and basically a step removed from feeling anything. So Dee and Yash, they're really natural kin. They think in the same language, which is exactly why I think the trap worked so smoothly. He didn't get conned by someone alien to him. He got outmaneuvered by the one player whose mind runs on his own frequency and just runs it a little faster and a little colder because her Gemini moon has no problem doing something ruthless and finding it funny, which is kind of funny. But his Capricorn moon will take it seriously and it will feel the weight of the chain. So you have two air players and the one who cares less won. And the genuinely dark part, which the feeds are kind of chewing on, is that his only escape from the curse may be for someone else to evade Dee, break the head vampire, and lift the spell. His freedoms at this point is not really in his own hands. For an Aries Mars competitor who's won everything, being handcuffed to someone else's survival, I do think is its own kind of special punishment. And Saturn Aries sitting on this whole season ego, I feel like it's just been more than happy to be teaching that lesson to people. So now let's talk about Dee and Taylor. So here's a synastry note that explains a rivalry. I cannot speak right now, I'm sorry. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. Rivals that wouldn't make sense or should not make sense on paper. So Dee and Taylor cannot stand each other. And they're the same sign. They're both Libra suns. When you have two Libras at war, that's a very specific, nasty thing. Right? Because Libra is a sign of image, fairness, and being seen as the responsible one. So when the two of them clash, each one will experience the other as a mirror they're going to want to smash. They're both figuring, and fighting who can be the diplomat. Both are certain that they're the one playing it clean. And both are keeping a running scorecard of who wronged whom. And that is why their conflict keeps devolving into tit for tat and semantics, like who said whose names first, who technically betrayed whom. It is two people with identical instincts convinced that the other one is the fake. And right now, Dee has the power and Taylor does not. So the mirror Dee wants to break is sitting on her block. 2 Libras, 1 throne. And I find this guy handed the throne to the one whose Gemini moon let her play dirty without even losing sleep. So, now I'm going to put the astrology down for a second. Because I promise you I would tell you where the chart is not the story and this is it. Ooh, sorry, you guys. I know some of you are going to disagree with me. And I saw the way this got argued online overnight. Couldn't sleep. Going through some things, and I normally can't sleep, but I really can't sleep now. I haven't slept in a while, like full day. But I just want to say the whole of what I actually think. Just because I don't think that it is as tidy as either side wants it to be. So this week, Taylor broke down. Right? Angela confronted her, told her she does not participate, that Taylor's lazy, that she lies in bed all day, and then told her in the same breath that she has called Taylor winner material. And Taylor laid it out. That she walks into rooms and they go quiet, that every single thing she does gets scrutinized in a way other people's identical behavior does not, that she's damned if she plays hard and damned if she pulls back, that every alliance she reaches for blows up in her face and she's tired of walking on eggshells in that house, and she said she wants to leave. So here's my honest read, and it's not black and white because the truth, it almost never is. Taylor's not a perfect victim, and I'm not going to pretend she is. She's made her own unfortunate comments this season, including about LaLa and about Ashley, and those fair to hold her to. They're really fair. Those are fair to hold her to. They are. She has her quirks and her missteps like anybody in there, like everybody in there. But here's the thing I think people keep getting wrong. That being a flawed player and being on the receiving end of a double standard are not opposites. They're both true at the same time. And they don't cancel each other out. You can be messy and still be treated worse than the mess warrants. The people online insisting that it has to be one or the other, that either she's a problem or there is bias, but never both, I think they're flattening something that's genuinely layered. And the double standard is real. When Angela has a huge emotional reaction, the house will let it evaporate by the next week. Poof, is gone. But when Taylor or LaLa, again, are only 2 black women in the house that I know of, have a reaction, they become the worst people in the room, and it follows them the rest of the game. 2 black women get poked and prodded and provoked, and then get blamed for reacting to being poked, prodded, and provoked. While the person who does the poking gets the grace. Now, I already know the response to this because it's always the same response, right? A lot of people want to see the slur, or they want to see the one comment. And this is where people miss it, because you don't have to have a proven slur to have a real pattern of wrong treatment. Like, you don't. Intent and pattern are 2 different things. The gap itself, right? The fact that Angela's outbursts wash off theirs and stains that gap. That's the evidence. That gap. Angela's outburst can wash off. Theirs, it always stains. Again, that gap is the evidence. It does not require anybody in the house to be some cartoon villain, which is exactly what makes it so hard to name and exactly figure out why it's worth naming. And you know what? I think that insidious is the right word for it. Because it's not a thing that announces itself. It's a thing you feel. And the feeling is specific, and if you've lived it, you know it instantly. It's the sense that no matter what you do, certain people are just never going to fully let you in, for reasons that have nothing to do with anything you can change. So you try your hardest to relate to them, to socialize like them, to fit in. And they'll be warm to your face and then nasty about you the second you leave the room. And Taylor's been feeling that for day one. She really has. Since Devens looked past her in the first week. You watch her try so hard to be one of the group, and you watch the group be fake nice and then cut her behind her back over things they let everyone else do. And after enough of that, of course, Taylor goes quiet. Any other season, I would be frustrated with the player for turning into a recluse. But I don't think this is laziness, and I don't think this is her checking out. I think this is a person realizing that the social game was rigged against her before the strategic one even started, and deciding to stop spinning herself on people who are never going to let her win it. And she's allowed to say that out loud. Do I think she's played too hard and not in the best ways at certain times? Yes. But she doesn't owe anybody a spotless record before she's allowed to point out unfair treatment and call it what it is. The demand for a perfect victim itself is a trap, and it's a trap that gets set most often for women who look like her and look like me. And I'm not going to launder any of that through a birth chart, because that would be its own kind of dishonesty, because the chart's not the reason, the house is the reason, and the world the house was cast from is the reason. Am I making any sense? Because where the chart does have something gentle to offer is understanding Taylor's experience with more compassion, not less. Taylor has a Capricorn moon. Reminds me of the Capricorn sun that won previously, who happened to be the first black woman winner of Big Brother ever after 18 million seasons of Big Brother. The first one. Not including celebrity. And was she a Pisces? This home girl? I can't remember. Anyway. But yeah, so she has a Capricorn moon, and Capricorn moon is the emotional wiring that holds everything in. It just is. Oh, sorry guys. I'm so bad at the slides. I just really got into talking. And anyway, but Taylor has a Capricorn moon. Capricorn moon is the emotional wiring that holds everything in. It's the type of moon that stays composed and capable and strong long past the point where it should have actually been allowed to put the weight down. So when a Capricorn moon finally breaks, it looks like it came out of nowhere. And people who have been watching her hold it together, they can mistake that composure for not caring, and then mistake that breakdown for manipulation. Angela literally walked away from Taylor crying and called it Taylor trying to manipulate her with her emotions. And I think that's the exact injustice that a Capricorn moon can walk into. It's being punished for being strong, and then being punished again the moment it stops being strong. Reading her chart there, though, is not to diagnose her, and it's not the cause of a single thing the house did to her. It's only a lens for empathy, a way of saying that a person can hold an enormous amount for a very long time, that they can hold it for a very long time. I forgot what I was saying. So my timer went off. And the fact that she does it doesn't mean that she was being hurt the whole time she was holding it, is what I was trying to say. And also, then Haley, she just inserted herself into it, okay? And she made herself the victim of an argument she was not in. But I still do apologize for, I believe, comparing her to a cockroach. Or her strategy, or her game. I don't remember which one it was, but I shouldn't have done that. It was kind of mean. But Haley wanted to go ahead and make herself the victim of an argument she wasn't in. And this is kind of the same way, by the way, too, that Haley went through people's belongings during the hairbrush hunt. And then she wanted to play innocent. Didn't like that either. But like I said, I'm going to keep my read on Haley in the game where it belongs. But my heart this week is with Taylor and LaLa. And I just want to say all of that, the messy and the unfair together, before I say one more thing about anybody's Mars sign or whatever. So where it all stands, this is the board read through the sky and the ties between people. All right, so the season, like I said, changed under their feet. Leo's spotlight became Virgo's magnifying glass, and everyone turned into a forensic accountant of everyone else, which is why a hairbrush and the definition of olive branch became the two biggest fights of the week. And the most powerful pairing in the house, Dee and Devens, they have a composite chart that makes them a playful, protective little family. And the crack in it is that the Aries half is already planning on how to beat the family at the end. LaLa won again and is speaking the one language Taylor's chart can receive: tough love from water to earth. Devin spelled Mallory because it takes a Gemini moon to catch a Gemini playing on the fence. And Virgo season is punishing her for the HOA she threw. Drew's eyes are squinting open on a loyalty that only really ever ran one way, obvious to all of us and everybody in the house but him. Yash got caught by the one air player, colder than he is, and two Libras are at war over one throne. And underneath all that clever chart work, a real thing is happening to the two black women in the house that the stars do not explain, and I will not pretend they do. I hold both of those at the same time every week, and I'm holding them tighter this one. Next week, the block, or next episode, whatever, because I'm not even sure how I'm doing these. I may just do this when I want to do them. At least once a week, but maybe more until the season ends. But the middle, I feel like, is finally paying for staying in the middle. And I'm going to call it a mosh pit. It's a whole Virgo season audit away from realizing that it was never one alliance at all. So if you want to, tell me your moon sign in the comments, because we have just moved out into Virgo season and the magnifying glass is out for all of us. And I do especially want to hear from my Capricorn moons, like if you are one who are tired of being told they're fine, they look fine. And if you want to look at every house guest full chart to follow their synastry along with me, my free BB28 cheat sheet has all of it. I don't have the energy for like promo stuff. For like beefing myself up. I don't have it. I ain't got it to do. Anyway, love you guys. Hold on, and let's see who's left standing when the season finishes turning.